this year. So first things first, I'm going to apologize. My husband got home a couple hours earlier than usual for a Friday, and he decided he would mow the grass because he's been trying to mow our grass and our neighbors because the gentleman next door had a stroke over the winter, and so he's not able to mow. So my husband hasn't had enough time to mow as it is, and now he's trying to do double lawns. So he's out mowing right now. Hopefully that won't be too loud. So I apologize if it is. But I wanted to get back to this. I want to share with you guys some of the resources I pulled to keep my kids engaged in school this year. I believe living is learning, and that they can learn every day. We don't need formal school hours, but we do have typical somewhat of formal school hours and some book work and those types of things during the school year. We are officially on school break, and I do not want to spend 3-4 hours, on school, with all of my students every day. So we're just doing about half an hour, I guess almost an hour with my older students, maybe even more if they choose to read more, but that's mostly because most of that time, if they're spending an hour or more, is reading, and because they enjoy reading. Just 15, 30 minutes with my younger students a day, and really we're only doing that Monday through Thursday normally because we don't school much on Fridays, and the weekend time. So just like I said, just some formal stuff to kind of keep them a little bit engaged, and then they can have the rest of the day to play and learn through play. So with my rising first grader, and I will be sharing what we used this year and what did and did not work for us. And so you will see this again. We used All About Reading this year. Now, she did not finish this because as we got, and I will share this later again, but as we got into the school year, she wasn't quite ready for this. She just wasn't quite there. So we did another program in the first half of the year and did this. I'd like to try and complete this over summer so that she can start into level 2 next year. So we're doing this to work on her reading through the summer. And then with her math, we're going to be doing mostly just games. So like I said, I'm still trying to make it fun. We're not just sitting doing normal everyday book work. This isn't our regular curriculum. So I got these addition learning locks from Lakeshore. A few years back, we had went on a vacation and we were in, I believe it was the Columbus area in Ohio, and they had a Lakeshore store. That we don't have one anywhere near us. So when we were there visiting, we were actually just passing through, going somewhere else, but on vacation. But that was one of our stops. We stopped there just to stop at that store. And my son at the time, who was a few years younger, fell in love with these. So we purchased them, and he has played a ton with them. And now my daughter, he still uses them, but she can go ahead and use them as well. And so we're going to be working on these through the summer. And another game that we play a lot of is Some Swamp. So this is a favorite in our house. We like to game school, and so especially on Fridays, that's when we typically game school during the school year, and we play this already. So I just want to keep her brushing up on those addition facts mostly. So we are going to start working on hopefully maybe some more subtraction facts too, but I want to make sure that she's got those addition facts solid. So I'm just going to set those down here because my desk is full of things to share with you guys. And the very last thing that I have to share that she will be using as well as my son, and that's why I kind of put it last, was for them to play together. And it's a think fun game that works on it's the 3-letter learning game right there. And so you can see the back here, just the basics. So it's just going to work on like CBC and kind of basic words. So this is a game that they can play together, that I can play with them, that the big kids can play with them, whatever works for us that day. But I did want to incorporate something fun besides just the actual lessons that we're trying to get through, although they seem to enjoy this well enough, but it is still formal school when you're doing a workbook. So I did get this out as well. And for her, as well as my son, who is the next one I'm going to share with you, they will both be doing reading eggs. Now, all of my kids enjoy reading eggs, and my older two will do it, but they don't do it as often. These two will usually, my younger two will usually ask to do it almost every day, even on the weekends. It's fun screen time for them, which they don't get very much of. My older students will do it from time to time, so we do have that option as well. Now, my son, if you have followed me for any amount of time, we started my son homeschooling the year that my husband really wanted him to start, and I was an education major, so I'm not much for pushing students before they are ready. So I started him formally schooling when he should have started kindergarten, but kind of on a preschool / kindergarten age, because he really just wasn't ready for some of the concepts, especially for reading. So he is ahead and on target in some subjects, and he is behind in other subjects, and you'll kind of see that reflected here in his stuff. So technically he should be rising to 3rd grade, but according to what you would consider public school standards, or honestly even my older girls, he is not at the same level that they were when they were rising to 3rd grade. And that's just the nature of the beast, and that's the joy of homeschooling. You can meet your student exactly where they are. So that gives you an idea. He just turned 8, just to give you an idea of what age group I'm sharing about. So he is working on level 2. Again, he did not complete this. We did work on this, and we did work on some explode the code back and forth, and that's just kind of what has seemed to work for him, and his reading is finally really growing. So we are going to continue working on this. He did not enjoy this at the beginning of the year, and I will get more into that when like I said, when I share what worked and what didn't work this year. But as the year has progressed, he has really enjoyed this, and I have seen between this and explode the code, his reading has just progressed a ton. So we're going to continue working on this, and he will also be using the game from his sister and the reading eggs. So that's mostly what we're focusing on for reading. I don't want to overdo it. He is not a bookwork kind of kid. Some of my kids are very into bookwork, and they don't mind sitting and doing workbooks all day. Doesn't matter. But he is not. He is very much a hands-on kinetic learner. He likes to go out and play, and he's just very active. So I don't try to focus too much on sitting. So that is pretty much all the reading stuff I have for him. And if he does well in his bookwork, then he can go ahead and have a little bit of screen time, because he does with the reading eggs, because he does learn well through that. Now with our math, we're working on just solidifying some of that like double-digit addition and subtraction. He really has done really well with that. Again, I will share a little bit more about that when we do our what worked and what didn't work this year. But I did pull the addition and subtraction activity book by Usborne. I bought this for him last year, and it did have more like double digit. I'll show you towards the end here a little more, some stuff that's not filled in. And he was not ready for that last summer, so I put it aside, and you can see he's begun working on it now. He can and is very capable of doing that now. So he is working through that. He also, to one of the concepts that I don't know if it was just abstract for him or what, he could not wrap his head around money at all at a young age. This is the first year, even though it was we had used Horizons when he first started math, even though it was in the kindergarten book, besides a penny, which even a penny for a cent, he could not grasp the concept for any reason. So we kind of skipped over money somewhat. And so this year we're coming back to it, and I want to again solidify some of those concepts. And so I picked up the Cumin book of money, dollars, and cents. And so we're working on this. We actually just started this past week. We've been out of school for a couple weeks, but things have just been a little bit crazy. We had my daughter moved to youth, and we had a youth retreat, and we had some events with the homeschool group, and a volunteer thing for our church that took all week last week. And so we haven't done as much in this book as we would like, but I plan to use this all summer long. And the very last thing is musical multiplication. So I had bought this for my daughters. They enjoy using it. When you purchase this, it does come with these little books, if you've never seen them before. And that one's set D. There's four different books. Whoops, and in the back are some flashcards. So they have these, and you can go through each set, and there's an MP3 with them, which is downloaded on our computer, and they can work on their multiplication facts. So he has started some light multiplication. And so I would just like him to get a little bit maybe ahead and just work being familiar with them. Even I don't plan on him having them all memorized like my older daughters. I just want him to kind of have that in his head, and he enjoys it. I wasn't going to do this summer, but he actually kept asking to use it. So I figured if he's asking, then he's interested. So why not? So I did pick this out as well. So that's what I have planned for him for summer. My daughter, who is a rising fifth grader, and you will see reflected in her stuff here, loves math. Loves math, just the way it is. So while I would rather her focus on writing, because I think that's where she needs to have some focus, I try to let them have a little bit more have their opinions in what they're going to be working on over summer. So I let her pick some things that she'd really like to work over summer. And if I see she's struggling in anything, I'll go ahead and incorporate some more. But this is what she shared with me that she'd like to work, and I thought that it was fine. So first off, my older daughters are fully capable of reading on or above grade levels, so I don't do any kind of reading curriculum with them, but I do require that they read at minimum 30 minutes a day. Now, my rising fifth grader, when I say 30 minutes a day, she's probably setting a timer and she's done at 30 minutes a day. However, my older daughter is going to read until you tell her she has to put her book away because it's time for bed. So that is kind of where we stand with reading. In addition to that, like I said, she loves math. And so some of the things she will be working on, she asked if she could spend some extra time doing math this year. And so she has this 99 math puzzles by Usborne Activities. And they're just all types of different, you can see different math, working on like perimeter and such things, working on addition, working on multiplication, working on division and fractions, all types of different math in here, just different math problems. She also got this book last year and she didn't finish it. She did work on it, but she didn't finish it. And so she pulled it out and she plans to finish it this year. And the last math thing she's been doing, and this is a game, if you've ever heard of it, it's Multiplication Slam. Now, I will say the volume, you can move it up and down, but it does definitely make noise, and it has to make noise for you to know how to play it. So my daughter takes this everywhere, and I try to keep her to keep it turned down, but she even takes it to my chiropractor's office. And while we're waiting in the room for the chiropractor, she will use it. There is a headphone jack, but my daughter tends to play this, and then she competes with her dad. It is a game where you have to do the multiples of 2 or the multiples of 6 or the multiples of whatever, and it times you, and you have to see who can get kind of the lowest time is how they play it. She'll take a turn, and then she'll have her dad take a turn and see if he can beat her or she can beat him. She's actually really good at it. So, but she loves playing this game, and so this is one of the things she is continuing to work on. She's trying to get faster and faster and just make sure that she truly has those multiplication facts completely down. And then she wanted to work on coding this summer. So she is into coding. It is not my area of expertise at all. My husband did go to school while he is not currently working in that field. He did go to school for IT, so he does understand those things and is able to help her some, but he's not home as much. So one of the things I bought her last year was coding for beginners using Scratch. And so she pulled this out. She worked on it during the school year last year when we had like fun Fridays or when she had some extra time, but she really wanted to spend some more time learning about it this year. And so this is the book she pulled out because it is the book we have. If anybody has a suggestion on any other coding books that when she finishes this, because I do know that she was a good bit through this, she enjoys doing it, so it doesn't matter. She can redo the same activities over and over, but there might be something that she can use for kind of the next step. If there is, I'd love to hear about it. Like I said, this is not my area of expertise, and when my husband went to college, that was a very long time ago, so this working on a child's level was not something that we had. So I would love for other moms, if you guys have any suggestions for me, to share them in the comments below, please. And one of the last things she has, and this really isn't academic necessarily, but they are so much fun and they definitely take some skill, is paint by stickers for kids. So I had actually found these, I think, at a consignment sale, and I had picked them up for her for Christmas last year. There was a whole set of them, like 6 of them, of the different books just like this. None of them were completed. Somebody had bought a bunch of them, I guess, decided they weren't for them, and then took them into consignment. So I got a steal on these, brand new, and she has almost completed this one, but she has several of these, and so she has found out she absolutely loves doing these. So she has put this in her stack that she really wants. I just have them have like a basket aside of things that they can pull from, and this is one of the things she put in there to work on. So that was all for my rising 5th grader. Like I said, in addition to spending some time reading every day, and she has the ability to play reading eggs, which they do have a up to 13 section, so age 13, so it is not just for younger kids if you're not familiar with it, so she can play that. Okay, now I'm gonna share with you, sorry guys, I moved and now I'm like my head's cut off. Anyways, okay, now I'm gonna share with you what my rising 7th grader will be using. So she's kind of a creative story. When we started schooling with her, if you haven't been following us for the duration of our channel, we actually started her in a cyber school. So I was very intimidated about the paperwork there was involved with homeschooling, not about the teaching aspect. Like I said before, I actually have an education degree, so I was not intimidated about that aspect, but I was intimidated about the paperwork, and I just didn't have the knowledge. And so we did start her in a cyber school, and the only thing we accomplished there was she lost her love for learning. But we have really gained that back, and you will see her stack is bigger than the rest of them, and it's because I limited it down. I wanted her task to be accessible. I didn't want her to have such a load of things that she only got to spend a couple minutes on each thing for the summer, and she didn't really get to work with these all of these different things that she chose. So this is what we limited it down to. I do think she will spend more time than this probably on educational things outside of this, and I know she will read well beyond her 30 minutes a day. But I wanted to share with you guys some of the stuff she has chosen to work on over the summer. So first things first, I mentioned that my daughter, before her, my rising 5th grader, is incredibly into math. My rising 7th grader is incredibly into history. And so the first things that we have for you are everything you need to know to ace American history in the One Big Fat Notebook. So I'm sure you guys have seen these. You guys have seen them floating around on different resource halls and whatnot. It's just some neat, just kind of goes through the general everything. And so I did actually, I'll share with you guys later that I picked this up for English for us to have as a resource. So if there's anything in here that she finds that she doesn't know about, she can go dig in some more about. If she finds something in here that she does or does not agree with, it opens up some discussion, just different things. And so I was excited that she really wanted to dig into this year. And so we have that. I was doing some purchasing. Woo! There goes my camera for you guys. Make you guys all sick. I kicked my tripod. I apologize. Anyways, I was doing some purchasing on a reselling site on Facebook, and one of the moms, there was a few other things I wanted for my other students for the upcoming school year, and she also had this posted fairly inexpensively. There was this one, and there was Turkey, maybe, drive through history, and it like was about Turkey or something. I can't remember exactly, but she had them, and I had asked my daughter if she wanted them because they were inexpensive, and she watches some of this series all the time on Right Now Media. She's obsessed with it. So this, she begged to have. She will be watching it as well, honestly, as my 5th grade daughter. They share a lot of time and space. They're very close in age, same gender, so they share a lot of those things, and they do a lot of things together. And this is one of the things they will both be working on over the summer as well. So this can go for my 5th grader as well. But my 7th grader was the reason we got it. She was the one who really wanted to work on this. So we did get like the DVDs and different things that go with it. So she will be working on some drive-through history. She'd actually asked if she could do multiple history courses next year, this being one of them. So she's just going to work on it over the summer. Now, she loves all things like farm animals, growing gardens, homesteading type of things. That kind of goes with our lifestyle. It definitely goes with our community lifestyle. And so she is working on the beautiful Julie Rothman's Farm Anatomy. So uh, we definitely garden. We do have some animals around our property, some animals around our family's property. And so this is right up her alley. She's even been interested in perhaps being a farm vet down the road. Not necessarily like a vet for cats and dogs, but more for goats and chickens and possibly big animals like cows and horses and all those things. So that's something that's kind of in her realm of interest for a career path down the road. So this is something that is right up her alley, and she definitely wanted to work on over the summer by choice. So we pulled that out for her. We math in that journey of going through a cyber school, she fell behind in math. Math and reading, honestly, she did not grasp the way they taught things. Not even that they taught things, because I taught most of it, just their curriculum, how their curriculum went about it. That's why we have the choices of so many curriculums. The curriculum they used was not for her, and that was the primary reason I realized that did not work for us. And so she has come a long way in math. She has caught up immensely, but before she heads into middle school, we just want to really solidify some of those aspects that she had worked on this year. And so I picked up The Life of Fred. Now, she pulled the fractions for right now to put in her bin, but we also picked up the decimals. So she'll just kind of work through them. I've never truly been interested in these. Not that I wasn't interested, I just didn't have a lot of knowledge of them. And I've seen them pop up on quite a few of those homeschool moms out there sharing on their curriculum hauls and different things. And it just sounded like something that was right up her alley. She definitely learns in a Charlotte Mason style, and that's kind of why we use a lot of master books, because they are Charlotte Mason based, even though they're not fully Charlotte Mason. But they do pull everything in from like a biblical worldview. So it's kind of a nice cross for our homeschool. We don't use all master books, but we do use quite a bit. That is what she currently uses for math. And so I thought that this would be a nice way just to brush up and to really hone in on some of those things she may or may not be struggling with in fractions and decimals. So she's just going to go through this and just see if there's any sticky points for her that we really need to revisit before she moves into 7th grade math next year. And along with that is the Lift a Flap Fractions and Decimals by Usborne. So we picked this up last year or the year before. I think it was last year. If you watch Abby over at Rooted and Rest, she is an Usborne consultant, and she shares a lot of her Usborne books. She also hosts a summer reading program, which I think is closed now for the year. But we have done it with her the past several years. And there I go again. I'm so sorry, y'all. Anyways, obviously it's been a while since I filmed because I keep kicking my stuff. But she runs a through Usborne, like a reading program over the summer where kids can get sponsors from family and friends, and then they can use that money towards Usborne books for your home or your homeschool. And so this is one of the books we picked up, and she was really excited to pull it out and just kind of work with it. I do think the fractions in here are a little more low grade. They're not they're not super difficult fractions. They're really fractions my 5th grader could be focusing more on than her. There's not a whole lot of conversion and different things, but I do like this page right here where it shows 1, and then it shows how many tenths down here equal 1. And you can show that like a third and a third. Oh, if we can go here. Sorry, the half and the half equal the whole, that kind of thing. And so I do like this. I'm fine that she wants to work through it. I don't see any problem with working on lower grade principles, just so that you can really solidify them. So this is one of the things she picked out. She wanted to kind of work on. Now, these were the 2 books that I actually purchased for her specifically to work on this summer. But she definitely will be doing all of those other things. And the first one is the Summer Learning Handbook for Creative Kids. And this is, I think this is by the Thinking Tree. It's the Fun Schooling notebook. And so this is a really thick book, y'all. I wasn't expecting it to be so thick when it came in the mail. This is something I was able to pick up on the reselling site. But so far, she has loved it. Sorry, there was some writing there in the beginning. But it just has different things. It shows you working on, this is just basics working on your date. There's definitely art time. There's some checklists, which lists she is type A, just like her mama, and so that stuff is right up her alley. There's spelling. That is something I love about this. There is spelling in every week, kind of. Like, it kind of goes through the same concepts over and over again. And there's spelling, which is is definitely a sticking point for her. So where I'm focusing on reading for my younger students, because that's still something I think they really need to work on, spelling is something that she needs to work on. She just is not naturally a good speller. It's not something that comes easily to her, and we took a long time to find a program that truly helped her learn to spell. So, and then we have some like architect type work, which she also enjoys very much of. We've bought several different architect type books. There's some nature study. There's just all kinds of neat things in here. Write and draw, so she's going to be focusing on some reading, as well as possibly some art. If I know her, she'll probably, or sorry, I said reading, writing. Good golly, Miss Molly. I haven't had coffee in like 5 days. I'm doing like a cleanse right now and apparently it's affecting my brain. But anyways, I digress. She, if I know her, she'll probably do the writing and not the drawing. That's just not her thing. She doesn't care to draw. But something like this where she could color in, she loves that. So I did pick this up for her, reading time, where she can put information about the book she's reading. Like I said, she will spend lots of time reading because she truly enjoys that. And then the very last thing that I picked up for her, and I was not familiar with this company before last year, this past year, and really the past, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 months, I saw, and you will see in my haul when I show you guys what they're doing for next year. We actually saw more of a health related book by them, and I picked it up and I fell in love with their curriculum, period. So when I saw this and I shared with her some of the things they offered, she wanted this one. And it is by Queen Homeschool. It's Our Animal Friends. And again, I shared with you guys that she is very into like the Charlotte Mason style of learning. And that is very much what Queen Homeschool is. This one is fully based on animals. So I shared with you guys that she's interested in becoming a vet perhaps down the road. And this is all about, like, this one is about cats and kittens, and it has some, oh, she already filled this out. Let me see if I can find a different one. Okay, so here is common dog health problems, and it's some reading. You can see 2 more pages of reading there. It's not extensive reading, but it is definitely some reading. And then here it is, common dog health problems, good or bad. And it says, find out if the following foods are good or bad for your dog. And so this is a really neat thing. One, because she's interested in becoming a vet perhaps down the road. And so that's really fostering the things she likes. But 2, the skill that I really loved out of these, and that I think that is really going to come in handy as she starts her secondary education, is researching. So right now, all of the materials are kind of given to her in a textbook, and she's just reading things and she's kind of regurgitating it as she's writing it. She's not really going out there and doing a ton of research. Now, she has begun doing some of that in some of like the papers she's written or whatnot, but as a whole, that's more of a secondary concept and things that they learn. So I really love that these books encourage students to do their own research and to dig in for answers that they don't have. So the next, here it is, list 2 diseases that commonly affect dogs and list some of their symptoms on the blanks below. So you can see, again, this is a pretty thick book. So I had bought these 2 books as her major summer books, but I am quite happy that, like I said, I wanted her to spend some time on math, so I did pick this up as well. I'm quite happy, though, with the fact that she has added these other things in, and she'll be working on those. Like I said, she truly has regained that love of learning and just learns for fun all the time. She will read nonstop as well. So that is everything that I plan on using with my students for summer this year. If you guys have a video out there, I would love to watch it. I know that there are some moms who did homeschool summer hauls out there, so make sure you guys check it out. If I can link this to any of their things, I will. There was a window for some of those playlists, and I may be out of it, so we'll see. But I'd love to hear what you guys are using for summer. Drop a comment down below, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.